Tensions are rising in the Middle East and the international community as news spreads that Israel is preparing to independently bomb Iran's nuclear facilities. CNN, the U.S., exclusively reported on this incident. We will now provide a detailed account of whether it is a simple psychological warfare or an imminent actual airstrike.
On the 20th local time, CNN reported that the United States had obtained intelligence that Israel was preparing a preemptive strike on Iran's nuclear facilities. Through intelligence gathering, including wiretapping Israeli military communications, the U.S. intelligence agency determined that Israel had already moved weapons to strike nuclear facilities, and had even completed practical training for its air force. However, CNN also reported that Israel's actions may be a psychological warfare targeting Iran rather than an actual airstrike. In fact, Israel has been developing scenarios for attacking Iran's nuclear facilities and repeatedly training its air force for several years. And since last year, as Iran's air defense capabilities have weakened, preparations for practical warfare have accelerated. For example, in October of last year, Israel effectively proved its airstrike capabilities by striking military bases, missile production facilities, and S-300 air defense batteries outside Tehran in response to Iran's ballistic missile retaliation. In addition, the collapse of pro-Iran forces in Syria, the weakening of Iran's proxy forces such as Hamas, and the Iranian economy shaking due to sanctions, all of these situations are making Israel believe that now is the opportunity. However, there are still variables. Above all, the U.S. attitude is decisive. According to former and current U.S. officials, the Trump administration directly sent the central commander to request restraint in order to prevent Israel's unilateral actions. This means that striking the nuclear facility is being perceived as an act that crosses the U.S.'s red line. If the airstrike becomes a reality, armed forces throughout the Middle East could intervene and escalate into an all-out war. In fact, immediately after CNN's report, international oil prices rose by more than 3%, and both the market and diplomatic circles are very nervous. Despite this, Israel has strong distrust and dissatisfaction with the nuclear negotiations between the U.S. and Iran. And some are even saying that Israel may deliberately take military action to break a bad agreement, since the nuclear facility is located deep underground. Support, such as U.S. bunker buster bombs and aerial refueling, is essential for an actual airstrike. However, it is unclear whether the U.S. will explicitly support this. CNN analyzed that opinions are divided, even internally, and ultimately Israel's actions will depend on the U.S. position.
North Korea is getting closer to Russia, and even in that flow, the North Korea-China relationship is maintaining a close economic relationship. Although it may seem like there are cracks on the outside, there's still substantial transactions going on inside. It remains to be seen how the triangular relationship between these three countries will be reorganized in the future.